Hello, so today for our mini lesson, we are going to focus on naming shapes. So why do I have some Legos up here? Well, before we get into naming the shapes, we have to think about how they got their names, and that is why I have Legos. And in order to do that, we need to talk about Greek and Latin roots. Well, think of these roots as one Lego. By itself, it could be something, but when you put it together with something else, it creates this new larger piece, doesn't it? That's what a Greek and Latin root is. So let's look for some more information. Okay, that's not it. So what are Greek and Latin roots? English, like many languages, got many of its words from ancient Greek and Latin. Greek and Latin have been around much longer, and so English kind of stole a lot of those pieces and incorporated it into their language. So the puzzle pieces. A root word is a little small piece of a word, kind of like a puzzle piece, and it means something, has a general meaning or a theme. But when put together with other pieces of the puzzle, it creates a whole picture together, and it creates something new. It still has to do with the piece, but it creates a new term, and that's kind of like what roots do with words. So a root is a piece of a word that has a meaning. It is the most basic part of the word. That's why it's called the root. That's the basic part of it. So it can be in the front, middle, or end of a word. And many words in the English language are based on Greek or Latin root words. So the example is ject. Ject is a Latin root. Now by itself, that's not a word. It's just a word part. It's one piece, so a little puzzle piece, if you will. It's not a very good puzzle piece, but I know that you can pretend. It means to throw. So if this little puzzle piece means to throw, as soon as you add something to it, it might create a bigger picture. So if I added another piece like pro. So if I added that piece and put it together with ject, pro means to go forward. So put ahead, go forward. Ject means to throw. So I'm going to project or put forward my idea or show my idea or put it in front of you. And that's what project means. Another one that I know in my class we've talked about, inter, like intersection, you're going between. So as soon as you add inject, that puzzle piece, now it means between and throw. So you're going to throw an idea in between. You're going to throw an idea out there. And that's what it means when you interject. You come up with something and put it in the middle. So root words, they give meaning. They help with the meaning. Okay? Well, some more examples. They create those words. Another example would be, we talked about geo, which means earth or land. And then we added geometry. Well, metri is a Latin root that metria, which means to measure. So if geometry, which we're studying right now, means earth measure or measuring the earth, what could that mean? Well, you're measuring different shapes. You're measuring the world around you. And that means we measure time, right? We measure temperature. We have thermometers, and we measure the temperature for that. We measure, what else? Length. We use tools to measure length. We measure shapes. We measure different things. And that is what geometry is. It's the study of the earth measurement or measuring the earth. Another one that we could probably talk about is anything with aqua. I know we talked a lot about Aquaman in another group, and he is a man of water. Aqua is a root that means water. So whenever you think of words that have aqua in it, aquamarine, aquarium, things like that, has to do with water. Thermo. Oops, that's not how you spell that. Thermo. Thermos. Remind you of anything? What does a thermos do? It keeps things warm. How about a thermometer? It measures the heat or measures the temperature. thermostat. They all have to do with heat. So these are a lot of examples of Greek or Latin roots that help us with understanding what word parts mean. We take this piece, we take the root, and when we put it together with other pieces, we know it has to do with something. Aqua has to have something to do with water. Thermo has to have something to do with heat. Geo has to have something to do with earth. So these roots help you determine the meaning of words you might not already know by understanding their meaning. What's that have to do with geometry? Well, that's how we named a lot of the shapes that you're learning. Stay tuned.